We took a bunch of Paul Sorvino movies, put them in a hat, shook them up, and somehow managed to pick the stupidest one in there. We watched Jersey Shore Shark Attack today on...
The f*** is this?
Oh god. God.
Yeah, that's
okay.
going in.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that couldn't have been better timed.
That's my sound check.
Yeah.
It's just a burp.
Jameson,
Yes, Cass.
you know what's really exciting is we have our first sponsor
Oh,
on the podcast
For real?
today. Yeah.
Oh, great.
I found this out and I reached out to the proper people and I signed the dotted line and whatnot. And
Why wasn't I informed
we
of
have
this?
our
Like, are we?
first because I wanted to surprise you.
Isn't this
but
our
right
co-venture?
here-
I think I should sign something as well.
But you're going to be so into the sponsor that I was able to get because it ties into what we're talking about today.
Okay,
Our
great.
first official sponsor is Paul Sorvino Foods Authentic Neapolitan Marinara. It's made with the finest San Marzano tomatoes. I got a copy here. He was fed up with what he couldn't find on the supermarket shelves. The veteran actor has created a line of pasta sauces using his mother Angelina's Neapolitan recipes. I got my tomatoes from Naples. This is Paul Sorvino talking.
That's his voice.
I got my tomatoes from Naples. I get the olive oil from Puglia. The spices I use are fresh, like the basil, and in the marinara, a touch of oregano. No fillers, syrups, or preservatives. I've been cooking since I was 12, and people say I'm pretty good at it. A lot of pasta with peas, pasta with vegetables, pasta with lentils and escarole, pasta with a ragu, 3 different meats, pasta at least 5 times a week. Sorvino said he didn't start the food line because he needs the money. He was just tired of supermarket slop. A problem that he couldn't serve with a whisper or a bullet. That's what it, that's what it actually fucking says. Years and years of those sauces and they don't have the right ingredients to taste. I'm doing it because I like to cook, and if you use these sauces, it'll be like getting in my home.
Bada bing, bada boom.
You can get 30% off when you go to paulsorvinosauce.org and you use the promo code FUCK. Get it to your home. Get a taste of Paul Sorvino in your house, and remember what Paul always says: you gotta slice the garlic with the razor blade so it liquefies in the pan.
Wow. You know, I was a little late coming to the recording session today, and it's nice to see that you found a good use of your time, Cass.
I got a little punchy. I got a little punchy waiting for you to
Holy
show up.
shit. Well, it's good to know what he's up to these days.
I know. He's up to a lot. He's got a lot.
He's a pasta sauce mogul right now.
He's got a lot of shit going on right
Mogul.
now. I'm not going to be terribly nice to Paul Sorvino because I found out some stuff that I don't like about him. But
Alright.
we're gonna get to that later.
Mm.
But in the meantime, welcome back. However you wish to self-identify.
What?
When it's not Halloween anymore.
Oh, jeez.
However you wish to self-identify. Fry the garlic with the onions in the sauce, and you put it over here to what's the name of our show? The fuck is this? Where we dive through DVD
I have been
bins.
asking that myself since I walked in.
Sort through spaghetti apps to find the weird, the bizarre, and the unloved. I'm your host, Cass Lesgard, and joining me always is my co-host and close personal friend of Harry Belafonte,
Oh,
Jameson
jeez.
Rafter.
Hey, how's it going, Cass? How are you doing, Cass? Are you alright?
I'm okay. Like I said, I'm pretty punchy. I'm pretty tired today, so I've just kind of... I had a nap.
Mhm.
I had a nap with my kitty earlier today, and that made me feel good. I really didn't get anything done. All I did was just research for today's show and then sleeping. Yes.
Do you want me to elaborate a little bit on that Harry Belafonte comment, or should we just let that linger?
You elaborated off pod.
I did.
Trademark.
Yeah.
And so you at home aren't going to know the details of that story. And you know what? I'm actually okay with that. I'm okay with things happening just between the two of us.
Okay.
You know, little side stories.
Mhm.
So, you know, as far as you at home are aware, yeah, Jameson is a close personal friend of
I wouldn't say close friend.
the banana boat songster himself.
I've met him.
Mr. Harry Belafonte. That's more than most people.
Alright, well now we can just let the fans let their imaginations run wild and about how, he and I had, a daring, Aztec temple escape scenario.
The cell phone app Temple Run is based on your true life adventures with Harry Belafonte.
What's that movie where, 2 prisoners are, shackled together? and they're on the run. They're on the lam.
Defiant ones?
Yeah, it was exactly that scenario.
Was it-
Only me and Harry Belafonte.
Based on based on the true story.
True events, yeah.
The movie
The
from
names have been changed to protect
that famous black and white Sidney Poitier Tony Curtis movie from the 1960s is based on Jameson's life.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start so
Wonderful
far today.
start,
we,
yeah.
we have a really exciting episode today.
Do we?
It's a surprise. You at home, you'll know what movie we're watching because it'll be the title of the episode. But we currently, right now, we have no idea what movie we're going to be watching. I have some idea because it's one of 10.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And we were like, we should have had like one of those like bingo roller.
I thought about it. I
drums,
looked
yeah.
around for it. Not
Yeah.
easy to find
Not easy.
specific
Mhm.
without the bingo set.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about like what we're doing here. So
Yes, but before we do that,
Okay.
it's time for a segment that we haven't done in a very long time. I just wanted to touch on something really quick, so it's time for another edition of Probably Should Have Mentioned That.
Probably should have mentioned that.
Ooh.
I know that it feels, Jameson, like it has been a year and a half since we talked about prom night,
Mhm.
but there was just a couple of things I wanted to add on to that discussion really quickly. The first was, on that episode, I was giving a lot of praise towards Lisa Schrage for her portrayal of Mary Lou Mahoney.
Mhm.
After we recorded that episode, I went back and I rewatched Prom Night 2, and I actually rewatched all of the Prom Night movies,
Mhm.
including the ones I hadn't seen yet.
And the ones that don't have Mary Lou in it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
while I do think that she gives a fantastic performance, I had forgotten how a lot of that movie, the performance is actually attributed to Wendy Lyon, who plays the role of Vicky, who's the sweet virginal blonde girl who gets possessed by Mary Lou, and she's actually doing most of the heavy lifting in that. You know, like she's the one that's getting possessed.
Mhm.
She's the one that climbs on top of her boyfriend. So like, you want to fuck me, Tommy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mhm.
So I was watching them all like, oh, I should have given her a shout out because she's really good in that. So I just wanted to say Wendy Lyon is also fantastic. And if you're rebooting the Mary Lou-niverse, which is good,
Yeah.
trademark, right? The Mary Lou-niverse, I just
Yeah.
came up with that right now. Give her a cameo.
No, I
as
mean
well,
like
too.
like both those actors knew how to play that character, and which is just have fun with it, you know,
Yeah.
which is what the lady from Prom Night 3 didn't really do.
Already forgotten her name.
Yeah,
Not
but it was just like, okay, so what I do here, I'm an evil hot girl. Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
I can just vamp. I can just be like a bored Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
All this. Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Yeah. The other thing that I just wanted to briefly say is that I was talking about Prom Night 4, and I was saying how after Prom Night 3, it drops the Mary Lou thing, and it just goes back to the person who escapes from the insane asylum, and he kills a bunch of kids on Prom Night.
Right.
That's not technically what Prom Night 4 is actually about now that I have seen that. Prom Night 4 is actually about an insane priest with actual stigmata who stalks 4 kids who bail on prom night at like a country house. And it really basically has nothing to do with the prom whatsoever. It's just this weird killer priest movie that somehow is now the 4th prom night movie. It is only tangentially connected because there is a before credits scene that takes place at Hamilton High where the priest does his first killings, and then it's like 20 years later and he's held in like a church basement and then he gets out.
You know how we always talk about like how these straight to DVD sequels of franchises nobody gives a shit about anymore
Yeah.
like keep getting made, and how like we gotta like find a property and just like make a movie. I think we could. How much does it cost to get the license to the Prom Night series? Because it sounds like we can just make anything and just use that as the title.
I mean, I have an in.
Yeah.
I worked with that director before, so
That's
you know,
right.
like I'll just drop a line and say like, hey, you remember my 2-minute bit in your one of, I'm sure, 50 different Christmas Hallmark movies that you've written? Hey, like what are the prom night rights going
Hey, that's
for?
just
at the
networking,
time?
man.
That's how that works. So yeah, what Prom Night 4 isn't, of course, is a good movie. So just ignore that one and go into that. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to briefly, since we are talking about Halloween, we did kind of tease another Halloween episode.
Yeah.
On Halloween 3, which we might release, maybe?
Certain circumstances have to align perfectly for us to release that one.
There were some technical difficulties, but without getting too much into it, basically like a third of that episode is kind of unlistenable. We're working on doing like a little bit of ADR. We might release it at some point. It would be silly to release it outside of the Halloween season, but also, this is our podcast and we can do whatever we want. So look out for that in the future. Maybe, probably, we're not sure. It might be the episode we always talk about, but never release.
Fingers crossed on this one. What was that other one that we did, but we're never going to release? American Breakdown?
American Breakdown.
Yeah.
Truly the lost episode.
We're gonna have to make like a collection of episodes that we're just never gonna see the
Eventually,
light of day.
yeah. We got 2 of them now.
Yeah.
But
like the legends like ferment and grow and expand, just like my relationship with Harry Belafonte.
You'll never hear it. That's great. Yes, we could talk about all the shit that we talked about in Howling 3.
Yeah.
And just elaborate like crazy, and no one will ever know.
No one will ever know.
I do want to release it because it was very fun. At the very least,
that was a good episode.
At the very least, yeah, it's a shame. Like, American Breakdown is no big loss because that episode was not funny. Howling 3 actually was funny. So at the very least, we got to get our guest back at some point. It's a little tricky because he has to phone in. But who knows? That might happen at some point. At any point.
And with his ADR, he may literally just be phoning it in.
Yeah. I also floated the idea to him about, because we have some poker games online. We have like some Zoom poker games. And I floated the idea, if he was too busy with his job to do the ADR himself, I was going to ask our buddies at the poker game to re-record his dialogue as him. And unsurprisingly, he did not go for that idea. My mistake was probably asking his permission instead of just...
It's better to beg for forgiveness.
Yeah. But anyway, probably should have mentioned that.
Probably should have mentioned that,
And now, moving on to the topic.
Oh, I had a...
you got another one? Okay,
yeah.
This is we're still going.
All right.
We're still going. Don't run the music yet.
Yeah.
probably should have. Probably should have.
Remember when we did Pass the Ammo and we were talking about this important figure that most of the billionaires were sort of groveling to? He was like the one true Christian that Jenica referred to him as.
I mean, barely, but sure.
Okay. Turns out, so Tim Curry and Annie Potts and them are sort of loosely based on the Baker family. That guy, that super rich guy who is like sort of like puppet mastering the cabal of rich people, he was based on Jerry Falwell.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never made that connection during that, so...
No. Well, I didn't know enough about that situation when I watched Pass the Ammo.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny watching the Tammy Faye movie that came out recently in theaters, and my frame of reference for most of what was going on was Pass the Ammo.
The better movie.
I'm the only person in the audience who was all like, this is, I see what that reference is.
This could use a couple more music numbers.
Actually, there was a lot of musical numbers in that movie, too, there was not a problem.
Anyways,
moving on to the topic at hand. Something that we have been wanting to do on this show for a while is to spotlight a certain actor. The movies that we watch on this podcast often attracts a certain type of actor who seemingly will just say yes to literally anything. They have over 200 movies in their IMDb.
they like to work.
For whatever reason, be it gambling debts or
Love of the craft.
they bought a bunch of dinosaur skeletons,
Yeah.
and now the tax man is knocking out the door. Or yes, indeed, Jameson, just the joy of creating a character and losing yourself in the facade.
Exactly.
Of all that.
I like how
I'm the actor of the two of us, and even I can't describe what we do.
Yeah, I'm going for the more hopeful aspect of it, and not just before someone comes by and breaks their thumbs.
So we wanted to do a series where we spotlighted one particular actor, and we bandied about a couple of different names. And there's a guy, we've mentioned him already. There's a guy who's popped up in a couple of movies that we've covered on this show, and every time he pops up, we kind of can't stop from giggling a little bit, because he has such a hang-dog expression, and it just looks like he's had a rough day before he got to the set that day.
I mean, we've always just kind of, by virtue of nothing, we kind of just saddled this guy as this sad sack who's squandering his talents in these piece of shit movies, and I really don't know a damn thing about the guy, but we always just peg him as oh man, he had such promise, and look at him now slumming it in these pieces of shit.
Well, I did a little bit of research before you got here today, and I can tell you that in terms of squandering his talents, that may be debatable. But anyway, we've buried the lead. The actor, of course, we're talking about is Paul Sorvino, and with it being the 11th month of the year, we are officially declaring it Sorvino-vember.
Novemberino or...
No, Paul Sorvino.
November.
Paul Sorvino-vember?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is this perhaps our stupidest idea?
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's certainly getting there. Yeah. No, an actor about which you can't truly say all that much other than he has definitely been in some movies.
Yeah, some quite good and a lot quite bad.
And a lot that no one has ever heard of, and those indeed are the movies that
that's where we come in.
That's our bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's our pasta puttanesca, which we are doing today. So a little bit of background on Paul Sorvino: actor, opera singer, sculptor, deputy sheriff.
Really?
Pasta sauce magnate.
Yeah. Recently.
Yeah. So I went back. I went all the way back, and I'm like, what is Paul why is Paul Sorvino famous?
Sure.
Like, how did he get to this point? Like, what is it? Because you look at a lot of actors from his generation, and there's always the one movie that kind of establishes them and sets them up, you know? Like, a contemporary of his, a guy who started around the same time, would be Harvey Keitel.
Right.
You know? And, like, he got started in the Scorsese movies, and he kept going. He did, like, Last Temptation of Christ, and then around, like, the 90s, Tarantino found him, and he did Reservoir Dogs and Bad Lieutenant, and From Dusk
we're talking
Till
Harvey.
Dawn,
We're talking Harvey Keitel.
Who are you talking
I thought we were talking about Paul Sorvino.
I'm making a connection.
Okay,
I'll
fine.
get there eventually.
All right.
We're going back to Paul Sorvino. I'm trying to
Is
talk
Harvey
about...
Keitel in this movie?
We don't know what the movie is.
Right.
We have no idea. Harvey
He
Keitel
might
isn't
be.
in any of these movies. I was trying to make a bigger point.
It's
I
all
was
right.
trying to say...
Continue.
You look at the career of someone like Harvey Keitel, and there's lots of, like, big movies that you can pick out, and lots of specific roles that you're all like, oh, okay, I can see why he has a career, because he has this body of work behind him. I went all the way back with Paul Sorvino. Not really the case. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but there's not really one specific role that you can say is the Paul Sorvino role. If you had to pick one, it's Goodfellas.
Yeah.
And that came long after he started acting. So, he started out, his first movie was Carl Reiner's film, Where's Papa? Then after that, he was in The Panic in Needle Park, which was Al Pacino's first leading role.
Ooh.
And then after that, he got Serpico, and he got The Godfather and everything. So that was kind of like his stepping stone. Paul Sorvino just had a small supporting role in that. He's in Mike Nichols' The Day of the Dolphin, which is a movie about a bunch of scientists who train dolphins how to speak, and it's meant to be taken entirely seriously, and apparently that's actually a movie that exists. He's in The Gambler with James Caan. He's in another Carl Reiner movie, Oh God, with George Burns. He was in a couple of William Friedkin movies. Of course, he's in the classic 1985 movie The Stuff. But I'm already at The Stuff, and there's an entire decade before that happens, and he doesn't really have the role.
He's just he's like a steady. I'm not even a character actor, but he's like a reliable, shows up on set. And, yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what else? And then
dependable co-star.
The 1990s roll around. Of course, he's Lips Manless in Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. Paul Cicero, of course, in The Goodfellas. Eddie Valentine in The Rocketeer. He was Sergeant Phil Cerita on Law and Order for 30 episodes before he decided he didn't want that interfering with his opera singing. So he left Law and Order, and the person who replaced him was Jerry Orbach. So that's a weird little legacy. Paul Sorvino made way for the most
identifiable character from Law and Order.
Exactly. Of course, he was Henry Kissinger in Oliver Stone's Nixon. He was Juliet's father in Romeo plus Juliet.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
I
feel like for a lot of people our age, that was our first exposure to Paul Sorvino, because most of us had to watch that in English class.
Yeah, when we were doing the unit on Shakespeare, and man, I think everybody hated that movie.
That's a great movie. I mean, it's wild, it's colorful, it's got men in drag, it's got pop songs and everything. Paul Sorvino's first line in that is
give me my shotgun hoe, or
no, he says, give me my broadsword, But then he picks up a shotgun that says broadsword on it, and we're like, okay, Baz Luhrmann, you don't have to try that hard.
Pretty clever.
Yeah.
But did you see that modern take on Macbeth with Bill Murray? No, Hamlet.
That's Hamlet.
It was Hamlet, yeah.
Yeah, and he does the to be or not to be speech while roaming the halls of a Blockbuster video. Yeah, that's some fucking pretentious fucking garbage. Trying to, like, answer the question, why is Paul Sorvino famous? And the thing that I keep coming around to is him slicing that fucking garlic with the razor blade in Goodfellas. Because you think about him in Goodfellas, it's not like he actually has that big of a role.
No, it's a memorable part, though.
Name one thing. Name one thing he does in Goodfellas that isn't slicing the garlic with the razor blade.
He says something to,
He says dialogue? He says words?
Yes, he does. He certainly does.
But it's wild how weirdly remembered he is for that. Have you ever seen, like the Goodfellas poster, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very, very iconic poster. Have you ever seen, like, the alternate one where it's the three guys, but they, like, Photoshop Paul Sorvino into it?
No.
That's, like,
Why?
You'll see that at Spencer's Gifts or whatever, or, like, I remember seeing, like, Red Robin or one of those restaurants has a bunch of movie posters up on the wall and everything. I remember seeing that. And it's the four guys, and they have their names underneath the thing. It's Joe Pesci, Paul Sorvino, Robert De Niro, and Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, oh, Paul Sorvino must be, like, a big part of that movie.
No.
You watch, he's like, no, not really. He's just kind of like the mob boss. He doesn't even really have, like, that memorable dialogue. So it's really, honestly, it speaks volumes of him slicing that fucking garlic with the razor blade, because that, honestly, has made his career and has got him stuck in people's memories just because of that one, like, 5-second moment. People are just enthralled by the fucking liquefying garlic thing, because I think everyone's just kind of like, you can do that? That sounds good.
Yeah, it's been influencing people's, dinner ever since. Fuck, I should rewatch Goodfellas. That's a good movie.
Probably after whatever we watch today, we'll probably want to rewatch Goodfellas.
Yeah.
After that, But it's not all garlic and Rocketeers and cans of the stuff. I just want to say, we're not here to celebrate Paul Sorvino. We're here to examine him. Much like the photographer in the wild examines a jaguar. Like we want to.
You're equating him to a powerful jungle cat.
Do you not?
Have you seen a picture of him lately?
I wouldn't want him to pounce on me.
No, neither do I. But
he's light. I remember reading one story on Wikipedia where his daughter had an abusive boyfriend, and she called the police and Paul Sorvino, and Paul Sorvino got there first with a gun, which he is legally allowed to carry because he's a deputy sheriff in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fuck with Paul Sorvino. I wouldn't want him on the wrong side, even though we are doing an entire podcast where we are exclusively making fun of him. I did briefly think about canceling Sorvinovember, or at the very least, turning Sorvinovember into a celebration of his daughter, Oscar winner Mira Sorvino, who, by all accounts, seems like a lovely person, but she just doesn't have that many weird fucking movies as her dad does. So, sorry, Mira. There's like a couple in there. I don't know. Maybe if this becomes like a yearly thing, we'll throw in a little Mira love over there.
Let's see how this one goes
before
we
all right.
decide how much we want to commit to this stupid thing.
Speaking of which, moving on. Okay, so what we are doing is I believe there's 11 in here. I have gone through and I have found.
I'm just gonna take a quick snapshot of this.
There we go.
Yeah.
I've put folded up pieces of paper and I've put them in the Paul Sorvino chapeau, patent pending. And I have found the movies that are available to watch either on Amazon Prime or YouTube or mostly Tubi. Honestly, Tubi could have a Paul Sorvino section.
They got a whole channel for
all of the weird fucking like Sorvino films that we found on there. This isn't counting all of the movies that I desperately wanted to do episodes on.
Oh, we just can't find them?
I just couldn't find them anywhere. There was a movie called Sicilian Vampire, which I really wanted to check out. There was one called Vasectomy, A Delicate Manner.
I'm kind of glad we didn't check that one out.
But yes, so we have 11 films here with a possible 12th. That's kind of a wild card. Okay. So I thought what we would do really quickly, because before we're eating up a ton of time with our gay banter, as I thought I've written the movies and I've written a brief description of what the movie is. I won't go into who directed it or who who else is in it until we pick the movie that we're actually going to
Sure.
watch. But I feel like they all deserve a brief moment in the sun. So why don't we each take a turn reading the title and the plot synopsis of a movie that we're going to watch today, and then when we're done with it, put it back in the Sorvino chapeau.
Gotcha.
All right.
Would you like to go?
Go ahead.
Okay.
You go first.
Lost Cat Corona. A play-it-safe guy must search for his wife's missing cat, bringing him face-to-face with the colorful, wacky, and sometimes more dangerous elements of his neighborhood, forcing him to confront his fears and rethink his M.O.
I bet that's a movie title that has not aged terribly well, given the circumstances. I'm going to say that was before recent events. Imaginary friend. A talented artist is haunted by the presence of a childhood imaginary friend, and her psychiatrist husband wants to have her committed to a mental institution.
Okay, that seems pretty... I'm sure there's a billion movies like that.
Yeah, not all of them are wacky, but...
Yeah. The Brooklyn Banker. The story of Santo Bastucci.
There's going to be a lot of us butchering fucking Italian shit in here.
A local banker with a talent for memorizing numbers, he is unwittingly cast into the forefront of an aging wise guy's bid for power.
Yeah, I tried to limit the number of, like, gangster shit, but, you know, there's going to be a few that sneak in here. Foreclosed. When a young family moves into a foreclosed home, the previous owner begins a campaign of intimidation and terror. The deranged man will stop at nothing to get his home back.
What? Why the fuck would you sell it then? What? Well, we might
we'll
find out.
We might find out.
Age isn't everything. Tell me about it. Young man gives up his dreams of becoming an astronaut to go into business and finds himself turned into a little old man.
Oh,
what?
Shenanigans ensue. Executor. A ruthless assassin trained to kill in the name of God by a corrupt priest reevaluates his life purpose after saving a little boy from one of his own assassination attempts.
Jersey Shore Shark Attack. Do I need to read the description of this?
It's pretty long, but I don't know.
Trouble encircles Seaside Heights, New Jersey, as an intense drilling vibration coming from under the town's new beach resort attract a swarm of deadly sharks who crave human flesh. Can TC and his team of tan Guidos rid Jersey Shore of its killer albino man-eaters? What the...
Albino.
Albino man-eater.
They're albino sharks.
Oh, I
for
see.
some reason. Which we might find out about. Or we might just watch that one. Bad impulse. In the aftermath of a traumatic event, a suburban husband and father buys a cutting-edge home security system, only to find that it slowly destroys that which he most wants to protect.
Okay. Divorce invitation. Mike Christian, a happily married man, runs into his high school sweetheart Alex, and after all these years, sparks still fly. When Mike is determined Alex is his true soulmate, he realizes he has a huge problem. He signed an ironclad prenuptial, and his wife will not let him out of it. That sounds great.
I mean, I don't know. If any of these sound great, we can always maybe go without that.
Divorce invitation.
All right. Two more. Acts of desperation. A desperate cop stalks his cheating wife at the same time. A polite bank robber tries to save a suicidal woman. I just took these directly from IMDb.
That seems like a fucking Charlie Chaplin skit.
It's like a silent movie.
Yeah. Undercover grandpa. When the girl he likes goes missing, Jake enlists the help of his grandpa and his former special ops buddies, the Devil Scum, for one last mission. Wow.
I mean, you can see why I wanted to read most of these.
Ugh.
All right, so the one wild card that I wanted to throw in here, I was genuinely surprised that I found this. You can veto this one, largely if you want to. Largely because I'm not 100% certain if it's going to make a good episode. I'm not 100% certain any of these are going to make a good episode,
Sure.
but this one in particular, I just wanted to point out because I'm actually kind of just surprised that I found it. So this is a movie called Slow Dancing in the Big City. It's about an aging, out-of-shape reporter who falls for a pretty but seriously ill ballerina. The reason that I wanted to include this, or at least mention this, is because, unlike most of these, this is the rare 70s, when he was kind of starting out, movie where Paul Sorvino is the star. He's the lead actor. He's not supporting anything. So those are kind of rare. It's also from a director that we've covered before. It's John G. Avildsen, who directed Desert Heat.
Right. And
directed the Karate Kid movies. What's interesting about this is that this movie is his immediate follow-up to his Oscar win for Rocky. And it is a movie that largely does not exist and is not available on home video or DVD, is like completely out of print, but inexplicably I found it on YouTube. So it's kind of interesting given that it's like a very obscure film, but it might just be kind of like a serious drama.
It might be kind of schmaltzy.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's much we can say about that. I just wanted to point out that that's on YouTube.
Okay.
If anyone is interested in super rare films, I might watch that on my own time. I don't know.
You know what? That might be something you should watch on your own time, and then, like, for next year's Sorvino-vember.
Possibly. Alright, so we'll leave it out of the hat.
If we do,
We'll leave it out of the hat, yes. If indeed this decides to be a good idea, or Paul Sorvino doesn't say something terrible in the interim. Alright, so I'm mixing things up here. Now, were there any movies that we talked about that you absolutely don't want to watch that you want to veto?
I mean, I've forgotten a couple of them.
Sure.
So who knows? Like,
who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna shake them up. Get them up because they're kind of getting stuck to the hat. And I know this is a tremendous waste of time because once again, you already know what we're watching. We're about to find out what it is.
All right, drum roll, please.
Don't look.
And it is... Son of a bitch! Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
I can attest. Neither of us were looking at the hat. Everything was folded up. We got Jersey Shore Shark Attack. Fan-fucking-tastic. Oh my god. All right. Well, let's just go right into it. This is a long-ass intro. Please enjoy this charity spot. When we come back, we'll tell you about who's in Jersey Shore Shark Attack, what's it about. I mean, it's about a shark attack in the Jersey Shore.
Fucking Snooki in the situation, motherfucker.
All right, we'll see you in a second. This is fucking awesome. This turned out great. Best idea we've ever had.
Back in October of 2021, details of a rumored, massive 2010 sexual abuse scandal within the Chicago Blackhawks hockey organization came to light. They had enabled a sexual predator to use their position of power to take advantage of players against their will, and did nothing about it for a decade. Important figures in the organization, including the head coach, general manager, and even several players, knew of the misconduct but did nothing to stop it. Worse still, they allowed the perpetrator to quietly resign with honors, recommendations, and landing him work in other organizations where he allegedly continued his monstrous behavior. The response from the NHL, often joked as having the worst people governing the best sport, was to issue the Blackhawks a measly fine for the cover-up and force resignations of the key contributors to it. That is outrageous, but what prompted me to call this to attention was a boneheaded television pundit who wondered how the victims, mostly athletic young men, could be allowed to be taken advantage of in this way, which is another sad example of victim blaming that we hear all too often in these situations. The video testimony from Vancouver native Kyle Beach about his experience as a Blackhawks prospect during this time is a heartbreaking listen, and is a sad reminder that there really is no industry where vile behavior can't fester and be shielded from consequences, and how there are no exceptions to who can be victimized by a predator. While it's too late to save people like Kyle from the awful events that occurred to them, their stories and bravery can propel us all to hold all organizations and industries to higher standards, to reshape the culture of these places for the better. But for today's charity spot, I want to focus not on the past or the future, but the present. If you or someone you know has been the victim of sexual assault, there are organizations that can help, such as the Canadian Association of Sexual Assault Centers, the Rain Legacy of Hope Society, Male Survivor, and the Rape Crisis Hotline. These are all judgment-free spaces where people can heal without shame and locate resources for counseling, support groups, education to their friends and families who wish to do more for their loved ones, and so much more. Moreover, many of these sponsor education and training programs to businesses and organizations that want to support sexual assault survivors through methods such as basic crisis intervention and identifying early warning signs of sexual predators. If you would like to donate to any of these charities, please do so at casac.ca, rain.org, which is rain with 2 N's, and malesurvivor.org. Those websites again are casac.ca, rain.org, and malesurvivor.org.
And we're back
from the shore.
Mm-hmm.
We're back. We picked a movie out of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
We had a variety of Paul Sorvino vehicles
Mm-hmm.
we could have chosen from, and we undoubtedly picked the one that has the least amount of Sorvino in it.
It has to be.
Just a sprinkling of Sorvino, really. Just a taste.
Easiest fucking paycheck this guy has probably ever made.
First billed.
Yeah, first...
Doesn't show up until 51 minutes into the movie.
Mhm.
Is maybe in the movie for under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Around, what, 10 lines?
Something like
would you say?
He's in like 3 scenes throughout the entire movie. Yeah.
But that's how you carry that Paul Sorvino legacy with you. He's like, you demand first billing on Jersey Shore Shark Attack, whereas most people would go uncredited for this. Most people would pay them not to let them know that they played the corrupt mayor in Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
Is there a way that I can credit myself as the actor equivalent of Alan Smithy? That was going through his mind.
Have they done that? Is there an actor equivalent of Alan
I
Smithy?
think it's just going uncredited.
That's like the next step of uncredited. It's like, not only do I want to go uncredited, I want like a pseudonym. I want you to know that this is not me. It's just a guy who really looks like me.
When he does show up nearly an hour into the movie as the scene where, like, he goes like a solid 2 minutes before he opens his mouth, we just couldn't pay attention to anything else that was going on in the scene because our eyes were fixated on him in the background.
He is a
like, just waiting for him to do something,
He's
say
a
anything.
magnetic presence. Your eye is drawn to him the entire time. And keep in mind, when he's on screen, he's sharing the screen with a giant albino shark carcass. But it's all like, oh yeah, I guess that's there.
Yeah, the eye is just drawn to Paul Sorvino.
We're gonna front load this with all the Sorvino talk we can because we're not gonna end up talking about him all that much.
Absolutely. Boy, the first annual Paul Sorvino is a bit of a bust.
Sorvino-vember.
Sorvino-vember, yeah.
Fucking hell. Alright, well, what is there to say about Jersey Shore Shark Attack?
That also can't be said about the Jersey Shore TV show in general.
Mean,
like,
it's just the plot of Jaws on the Jersey Shore with the Jersey Shore characters, and it's sort of a parody of both of them, but it takes itself way too seriously, so it's not really ironically funny.
Yeah.
And the handful of laughs you do get just come from how absurd the whole thing is.
Yeah. What laughs do come their way aren't, they're not big belly laughs, they're not even much groaners, it's just, you're rolling your eyes at the ridiculousness of the situation and the characters.
The ridiculous of the situation?
I gotta, like... Jeez, drink every time that comes up. Well, what's the analog for the situation in this? What's he called? Like
the complication.
The complication. Yeah, he's
because when
not
ladies
really...
see his abs, things get complicated.
Yeah, all one of them.
Which really doesn't. Yeah, I know. That's the weird thing is that this movie is full of beefcakes constantly showing off their abs. The one guy they got to specifically show off his abs, they're okay. Yeah, not that great. He kind of has ab.
Yeah, compared to the other men who are like the Jersey Shore counterparts, he's probably in the least amount of shape. Like, he's still in good shape. He could probably kick both of our asses.
No, exactly. I'm not saying that he's disgusting.
No, but like
everyone looks good here.
Yeah,
Sorvino looks good. Everyone
he
else
looks healthy.
He doesn't look like a bowl of warm death. It's fine.
Yeah, so...
he doesn't look like a man who subsists entirely on ragu.
Yeah, he hasn't yet started his pasta business.
This was what he was doing. Mind was wandering within his scenes. He was just all like, man, I really didn't like that sauce last night. I gotta make it like Mama used to make it. I gotta put it in a jar and I gotta get out there. I gotta put my face on the bottle. That's what people want to see when they eat.
Yeah.
Paul Sorvino.
Alright, so did you guys ever watch The Jersey Shore? I didn't.
I must have seen at least one episode. I remember I had like a friend when I was in college that for some reason the only TV show station that they got was MTV. So MTV was just kind of always constantly on because it was just the free channel that they got. I'm certain I sat through at least one episode of the Jersey Shore at one point.
Yeah, I think I saw maybe one episode just to, like, say that I did.
And of course I've picked up, like, the miasma of it as well, too. Like, I've picked up the context. Like, I know some of the characters. I know the situation. I know Snooki, of course, because Snooki was all-encompassing and you couldn't get away from her if you wanted to.
Yeah, they were a surprisingly big deal back in the day, even though like they were famous just for being like these god-awful reality TV show characters.
That's what we wanted back in 2009.
I guess we did. I mean,
yeah.
I certainly didn't,
There
but
was a
I've never
market
really
for
had...
it.
I never really had my finger on, like, the button of pop culture. You know,
I
I'm
mean-
the odd man out for, like, not knowing shit or giving a shit about the Jersey Shore.
I mean, 2009 to 2013 was an absolute dead time for pop culture. It was maybe just one of the darkest periods of intellectual property out there. And I'm saying that based on absolutely no knowledge. It's interesting how Nookie, our Snooky archetype, do you get it? Do you get the pun? But it's interesting how she's sort of styled in this as the ex-girlfriend of the complication, because my one episode of watching the Jersey Shore and picking up all the context from elsewhere, I was always under the assumption that Snooki was like the mascot. You know, it was like there was like the two other women I think that had, you know, like constant flings going on with the three guys, and Snooki was just a force of nature. Like they just let her loose.
Yeah.
In I almost said situation. They let her loose in bars, and then she would get into a fight, and she would like throw drinks at people and everything.
Yeah.
She was never the. I mean, clearly she was the breakout star.
Yeah, she was the heart of the show.
Yes. But and again, correct me if I'm wrong, all the cross section of people who listen to our show and are huge Jersey Shore fans. But yeah, I never thought that she had like romantic subplots. She was the Screech of the gang. Is what the assumption that I was under.
I can't weigh in on this. I didn't
No.
I didn't really see the Jersey Shore. I just know that those people were everywhere in that.
Those people.
And I don't mean it like that. I just mean like that group was everywhere. They were you couldn't get away from
We
it.
got enough hate mail. We don't need New Jersey mad at us as well. We really don't.
We really don't.
It's
Yeah.
a scary bunch of.
They could kick all of our asses. So yeah, it's the 4th of July weekend, and everyone is eagerly anticipating a solo Joey Fatone concert.
Joey Fatone plays himself, fourth build, playing himself for literally one scene.
Didn't even bother to dress up for his cameo.
And it's amazing. They keep talking about this solo Joey Fatone concert on the beach, which, when we get to it, consists of him dressed like a suburban dad at a cookout. And like, we started thinking, wait, like,
He didn't have a solo act.
He did. I looked it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
He does not have a single solo album. He was one of like the only NSYNC people who didn't continue.
Well, because I think he wanted to get into acting. Didn't he?
And look where that led him, to Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
Yeah, we were making the joke about like his solo act would consist entirely of him singing his parts in NSYNC songs, and the rest is just like dead silence.
And it seems like that's what's about to happen, because it's literally him and his manager, the long-haired gentleman with the cowboy hat.
Who I'm sure was his real-life manager.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't give him any
They're
lines.
a package deal. You want Joey in the movie, you gotta get Charlie in there.
Yeah.
And he goes up to the microphone, he's all like, hey, here's one for you ladies. And the manager just literally hits like a boombox. Poor fucking Joey Fatone has come to Jersey Beach to just do karaoke bed tracks. He's either doing the NSYNC songs and he's doing all the parts, or he's just doing his parts. And it's just pure silence.
Yeah.
Elsewhere.
He's just sort of like tapping his toe, like bobbing his head a little
Which
bit.
would have been funny if they had the rights to use any of the NSYNCs. But, like, they had Joey Fatone. They must have, at the very least, gotten some of the right.
He's got to have like some say in it. Like, does he need all 4 other signatures to make that happen of the members?
You know, I saw a movie at the Vancouver Film Festival this year called Red Rocket. It's from one of my favorite directors, Sean Baker, and he was in the audience, and he did like a Q&A after it, and he was saying in that movie they use the NSYNC song "It's Gotta Be Me" a couple of times as like a thematic thing. And he was saying the most money that he spent in making the movie was getting the rights to "It's Gotta Be Me." Because he had to get the rights from all 5 members of NSYNC, including Justin. So they could have gotten some of the rights for like a couple of seconds of an NSYNC song if Joey Fatone signed on to it. But I guess maybe he was just too embarrassed to call up Justin Timberlake and say, "Hey, I'm in this project. Can you sign?" And then Justin Timberlake's like, "What's the project, man?"
Yeah.
It's all like, that's just like this like little thing. It's all like,
He's like,
"No, Joey, tell me the project." Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
Ah, shit, I gave you my real number, didn't I? Fuck!
and then Justin laughed for 5 minutes before hanging up. Anyway, so yeah, that's Joey Fatone's entire part, and then he gets eaten by a shark.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Which is midway through the movie, but we're not going
in chronological
okay,
order
here.
So our characters from Jersey Shore, their analogs are the Complication, Donnie, Nookie, Paulie, a girl named BJ, and a girl named J Money, if I'm getting that. Yeah, Paulie Balzac, who is, they explicitly say he's not Italian, but...
I don't know if that's a Jersey Shore reference, if one of them was an Italian.
Sure.
If it's just a joke for this movie, didn't work.
In which case, isn't he doing sort of like a Italian blackface in that regard?
It's called Paciface. Is what it's called, yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
Gabagool head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So who's that guy from The Sopranos is in this movie? They go to his
Tony Sirico.
Tony Sirico. They go to his bar.
Who plays Captain Sally?
Yeah.
He's the bar owner. You know, all the spring break people are coming. Not spring break, 4th of July.
Yeah, but they say it's a spring break party, even though it's fucking.
Hey, fucking Jersey Shore spring break every day of the year. What are you talking about?
You girls with the huge titties, you line up for the wet T-shirt contest, but make sure you keep your bras on because this is a chase movie.
This is a PG-13 sci-fi original movie, so yes, there is a wet T-shirt contest. But yeah,
it's very tasteful.
No bikini tops have come off. Look, we've watched Hot Dog the movie. We know what a wet T-shirt contest looks like. All right, it looks dangerous and it looks like actual women were being exploited.
Yeah, but I gotta say, like having a wet T-shirt contest, but you're also wearing like a bra and a bikini top, kind of defeats the purpose of a wet T-shirt contest.
I mean, the T-shirts are wet.
True.
That's what it says. What it says on the label.
Yeah, someone like goes to complain to the manager and says like, "Hey, man, like point out on the sign where it says we misled you." You know, false advertising.
I want to have like a bar and then advertise like a wet T-shirt contest and get like all these like horny dudes like liquored up, and then it's just like someone comes out with just like a bag of T-shirts and they just one by one dunk them into like a jug of water, and everyone starts booing. It's like, did I lie?
Yeah.
Did I lie?
What was that like promotion?
No refunds.
What was that story of like that promotional thing that Hooters did where it said like, hey, the top server of the month gets a new Toyota, and like the winner actually just got like a doll of Yoda.
Yeah,
the toy Yoda.
Yeah. That's called fraud.
Yeah.
Tony Sirico doing a lot of pointing in this movie.
There's a scene where like the Jersey Shore kids talking to the cops after they're trying to chase down the frat boy douchebags at the bar, and he has nothing to do. He has no lines except to like look menacing and to point around at shit.
Yeah. He's doing like full Popeye acting at this point because his fists are balled up. He's got like a big old scowl. He's all like he's one step removed from like shaking his fist above his head, like you kids, get out of here.
So that's Captain Sally's bar, and I guess like right on the other side of the pier is like the yacht club where all the fucking stuffy preppy boys go to hang out, of which I think there's only 2. And
there's the main preps. There's the 2 main preppies.
Yeah. Bradford, who has 2 popped collars.
So I like how like later on when they're all getting on his yacht, he's like actively trying to pop his collar as much as it will possibly go. Like he's yanking that thing.
Yeah. I'm very happy that trend didn't stick around. That was around for like maybe a year before people clued in that like not a whole lot of people like that look, but it kept showing up in movies.
What year exactly would you say the popped collar became a thing? Because I never noticed it.
I'd say from like maybe 2006 to 2007.
Right.
Yeah. I just remember working with a guy at EA one time and he had a pop collar, and as he was having a discussion with me, I reached to his collar and pulled it down as he was speaking. Okay, sorry, go on.
You're not an actor per se, Jameson, but you do have a look.
I look like a preppy boy.
You could be an extra in the preppy scenes.
I'm not much of an actor, but I can guarantee you I could play a role like the preppy guy in my sleep. Yeah,
dude, all you need to do is take a sweater and then tie it around your neck, and then like
look smug. And I can do that with my eyes closed.
It's amazing how literally anytime you see someone tie a sweater around their neck, it's instantly shorthand for that guy's a douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, no one has ever done that in a movie that wasn't a piece of shit.
Exactly. So, the preppy guys go to the bar and, they're like, turn that racket down, you ruffians, or whatever the fuck.
See, look, you already got it.
just kind of slips out sometimes. I can play a preppy movie.
You just in the background, you have like a monocle on, and the guy's just like, no, too much, Jameson. You went too far. You went too far the other way.
Yeah, and so they got this like slobs versus snobs thing going on. They chase out a member who's not really a member of the Jersey Shore. He's like their little buddy, JP.
Yeah, they remind you constantly that this is a shorter than average person.
Yeah,
he looks about my height, so
yeah,
that makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah. They keep calling him a midget, unfortunately.
It's not that like the complication isn't that much taller than this guy.
He's the shortest one.
Yeah.
Of all the men. He's anyways, like the preppies pick a fight with these guys who easily have like 100 pounds each on them, and they chase out JP, who evades them by jumping into the water, and he's gobbled up by an albino shark, which have been attracted to the Jersey Shore because like some company is drilling.
Some evil company is drilling for oil right down the Jersey Shore, and they're attracted by the
vibration.
The vibrations!
Yeah, sending out these CG shockwaves that are felt all the way to the bottom of the Mariana
Well,
Trench.
you know what they say, CG shockwaves attract CG sharks.
Oh.
Except sometimes. Sometimes, most of the it's like 90% CGI shark, and then it's like 10% practical shark, and unsurprisingly, that's the best part of the movie.
I mean, I'd say...
As fleeting as it is.
Like, they 100%, no matter how they depict those sharks, it always looks bad. They've been making fucking shark attack movies since the fucking 70s, and...
So many of them.
And it feels like the special effects have not aged. The effects for the shark attack should be better. The effects for the sharks should be better in the movie made in 2012.
I would argue that there's almost no good shark attack movie that doesn't have a shark that looks like a piece of shit. Even Jaws. This shark looks terrible, but you forgive it because that was, like the first movie, and also that's a brilliantly shot movie that plays around with the idea that it's actually more scary when you don't see the shark.
Exactly.
But like when you do see the shark, it's goofy, but you're so sort of absorbed by what's going on, you don't actually mind. But like what is a good...
But I mean, like, fucking 30 years later, like, the effects of the blood in the water, we're just gonna put, like, some CG coloring around the bodies. We're just gonna have, like, this Muppet head of a shark, like, nuzzle someone. Like, most of the shark kills in this movie suck.
Yeah.
Can you agree with me on that?
I'd say there's, like, 2 decent ones, and again, it's the only time we see any actual blood and gore, which is in incredibly short supply, but when we do get it, it's alright. It's not terribly bad.
Oh, I mean, the one where it's like that fat guy in the rowboat.
Okay, so about the fat guy in the rowboat, much like how the early 2000s remake of Piranha opened with having Academy Award winner Richard Dreyfuss devoured by piranhas before the title pops up, this movie starts with an opening shark kill from another Academy Award winner, 2-time Academy Award winner Nick Vallelonga.
Really?
Who, if you don't recognize that name, that is the guy who wrote and produced Green Book.
Really?
Yeah.
That dude?
That dude.
The guy in the rowboat?
The guy in the rowboat. So, Green Book...
Smoking a stogie? Jesus.
Did you ever see that piece of shit?
No.
No. So, Green Book... So, not only did that guy write and produce that movie, the movie is about his father. Viggo Mortensen plays his father in the movie. So, that's like that guy's, like, family story. About like his relationship with like this classical African American trained gay pianist. Of course, the movie came out and won all these awards and won Best Picture. And then, of course, inevitably, actually even before it won the Oscar, the family of the pianist came out and said like, that shit didn't happen. They weren't friends. In fact, he fired that guy. This is all horseshit. And then, of course, it went. So yeah, that guy, the Vinnie Krabs. Vinnie Krabs has 2 Academy Awards. Soak that information in for a while.
No, speaking of soaked, he gets his hand bit off by a shark, and it's like a fucking blood geyser going into his face. It's pretty good. It's good, yeah.
Nick Vallelonga gets his hand cut up, yeah. Saying earlier, like Tony Sirico is in this. There's like a bunch of other Sopranos connections as well too. Not just in this movie. I have to say, as odd as it is to believe that over the course of 6 seasons, Paul Sorvino himself never appeared in an episode of The Sopranos.
Yeah, that's funny.
But when I was looking up all of these movies that we listed off, pretty much all of them have some Sopranos connection in them. Like, the majority of them have somebody who appeared in that show at some point in time. So, Tony Sirico shows up in this. There's the 2 oil drilling guys. One of them is Al Sapizia.
And Joey Diaz.
Who wasn't in The Sopranos, but he bears an uncommon resemblance to Vincent Pastore, who plays Big Pussy, so much so that I was looking this up. It's all like, was this guy in The Sopranos? He wasn't in The Sopranos. He did play Big Pussy's father in The Sopranos movie that just came out earlier this year. So it is that as well.
It all connects.
Also in The Sopranos movie, Nick Vallelonga shows up in that. And the weirdest connection of all is that his dad, Tony Lip, who Viggo Mortensen plays in Green Book, later on in life, after he became the driver for and best friend of the black pianist, whose name I can't remember, I apologize, he became an actor, and he appeared in several seasons of The Sopranos.
We need like a fucking like a conspiracy theory, like, you know,
we need a fucking Pepe Silvia boy just for this.
Okay, so yeah, there's a shark attack going on.
A Jersey Shore
shark attack. The complication goes to his dad, who's like the chief of police. The cops don't believe him because like these, like the Jersey Shore collection, there are all just a bunch of wacky party animals who are.
They're a bunch of Goombas.
They're a bunch of Goombas, yeah. Bunch of Guidos that they're a black guy on the town or whatever.
We can say Goomba. I don't think we're allowed to say Goomba.
Oh no? Okay.
No.
All right, I apologize for that.
All right, I apologize, Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
We don't want again.
Don't whack us, please.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we already pissed off Italian Americans with the opening of this one.
So yeah, the Jersey Shore which we call these this group. The group decides to go and avenge JP's death.
I mean, they are the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
They're on the Jersey Shore. Mm-hmm. I don't know, the gang.
The gang, yeah. So the gang decides to avenge JP's death because they find his hat that was mauled by a shark, and they just like jump to a conclusion less than 2 hours after he goes missing that he must be dead.
I mean, the weird thing is they're not wrong, but yeah, they don't have like a ton of evidence to support the fact that there's a shark attack.
Everyone keeps brushing it off as like, oh, he drowned, and it's like, no, there's no way he could drown. Like, he and I were on the swim team, and he was the best guy on the swim team. So something fishy's going on in the waters of the Jersey Shore. So they get a bunch of fucking fireworks and start hucking them at sharks.
Throwing fucking protein bars at them to fucking
to lure.
Throwing fucking, and of course one of the girls falls in. I think BJ falls in the water, and they have to. There's like a tension-free scene where she swims back, because we know none of the Jersey Shore people are gonna get eaten in this, even though you want all of them to get eaten in this.
I mean, as soon as she got out of the water, you and I both clued in. There's no way that they're gonna kill off any of these characters.
Even though you watch a movie called Jersey Shore Shark Attack, the only thing you want to see is the characters from Jersey Shore get eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
So they just like misread who this movie was for in the first place.
Exactly.
They killed Joey Fatone, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
But
take him down a peg. He's had it too good for too long.
By the way, Joey Fatone, stealthily, third movie on this podcast, sneakily getting up there in the most common. This was actually a stealth, a long shot reunion between him and Paul Sorvino.
Oh man, do you think they reminisced about their time?
They had no scenes together,
right?
In either movie,
even at the rap party. No, Paul Sorvino would not show up to the rap. Well, maybe catered. Free food.
Joey Fatone was the DJ.
Oh no,
that was how they got.
I'm gonna play all my hits.
He doesn't even have a hit. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He didn't release a single. I'm gonna look up Joey Fatone on Spotify right now and see if anything comes up.
All right, I will say that there is a subplot going on where Nookie and TC had a relationship, but she assumes that he slept with another woman. D'Angela. And there's, like, we assume that that's what happened as well, because TC's opening scene has him waking up next to her in a bed. And he keeps insisting that, like, oh, I'm so drunk, I'm so hungover, I don't remember what happened last night. But, like, all evidence suggests that, like, he would have slept with this woman. And Nookie is giving him hell for it. And then when JP is presumed dead, all the women, like, offer their condolences to the men. And then they go on the big shark hunt together. And after that scene, it's like Nookie remembered that she's supposed to be mad at him. And she goes back to distrusting him and calling him an asshole and flirting with other men. That's our B-plot.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say Nookie may not be the most sensitively written character. I guess she gets a little more dimension than the other two ladies. The other two ladies seem to only exist to just run into scenes and just say, guys, we gotta go to another location. Yeah. Something's happening.
Yeah. Nookie's out of control. control. You gotta come, DZ.
Look, he's out of control, and then they run to the bar, and she's just, like, dancing normally.
Yeah.
I mean, she's on a table, but, like, it's not even... Like, this is Snooki.
Yeah.
Like, we know what Snooki does. Snooki throws tequila bottles at people's heads.
I will say that actress seemed to have a lot of fun playing that character.
I think everyone had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
all the people playing the gang, the Jersey Shore gang, they knew what they were fucking doing, and they were having a good time.
Just because this movie's terrible doesn't mean that the people portraying the Jersey Shore people aren't doing the job that they were assigned to do.
Yeah, they know exactly what this is, and they're gonna have fun with it.
Just because I hated watching it doesn't mean that they didn't do the assignment.
Probably had a bunch of fucking laughs doing this.
So this is amazing. So when you look up Joey Fatone on Spotify, literally one song. It is one song, nothing else. He has a single called Radio from 2016. So after this movie came out, he has the one solo hit that did not exist during the time of Jersey Shore shark attack, so he wouldn't have been able to perform it before his untimely death. What's amazing is that Spotify has this thing where it collects the songs of a specific artist, and you can play them, you can sort of shuffle them, and it's called Radio.
Yeah.
So you go to Joey Fatone Radio, it's literally just the song Radio.
I bet you when he clued in that, like, he was playing himself as a singer who would, like, go to these, he would headline these 4th of July events, and he's like, oh, I should probably start having a solo career if I'm gonna be, doing this
and it took him an additional 5 years after that to write one song, and then he was like, I'm tired.
Yeah. Okay, what's going on here? Okay,
I mean, we're all over the place.
So
here.
the cop dad doesn't believe his story, but he has like this tense encounter with the land developer. Why? Oh, because the Jersey Shore gang blew up his boat.
Yeah.
They wanted to steal a boat to go after the sharks, but they accidentally light the fireworks that they have on them in the boat, and it blows up the boat. And so the chief of police has like this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours thing with the land developer saying, don't arrest my kid for this, don't press charges. And the guy says, okay, I'll do that, but you gotta keep these fucking beaches open despite these shark attacks or whatever.
Is that what happened?
I think so.
I don't know. I was like barely paying attention.
Sure.
You recognize the land developer, right?
You did.
Yeah.
You always recognize these actors.
Oh man, but he's like the classic '80s bad guy from like two of the most popular '80s movies. That's William Atherton he was Walter Peck from Ghostbusters. And he's the shitty news reporter guy from Die Hard.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't recognize him at all.
Well, he's a lot older now. Slumming it over in Jersey Shore here. I mean, yeah, he played like two of the most iconic smarmy yes men of 80s. And I believe his name is Walter in this, which makes it funny that he played Walter Peck as well, too. Because this poor guy really couldn't get out of these roles.
Shoehorned into that kind of
like he
the guy who gets like punched out at one point in the movie.
Like he wouldn't go on to play like the nice dad after the 1-2 punch of Ghostbusters and Die Hard, unfortunately. Like he's kind of trapped doing this kind of thing for a while.
So the Jersey Shore gang, they're trying to get the word out that there's shark attacks going on. They try to get onto the radio and talk to this very well-dressed DJ.
It's a weird costume design for like this DJ here. Just like I think he's wearing shorts, but he has like a
blazer,
a nice suit jacket that he does up very fastidiously and everything.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, friend of the show, Kevin Getz, like, invited me into, like, he used to be a DJ for Virgin Radio, and he just, like, invited me to hang out one evening, and I gotta tell you, like, peeking behind the curtain, radio DJs, they're not all dolled up. They don't need to be.
They're in the booth all day, which is
they're in
incredibly
sweatpants.
hot.
Yeah.
They can't crack a window because they need to be in a soundproof room. And also, Jersey Shore during the
in the summer,
4th, very hot.
I
don't know why this guy was dressed up for absolutely no reason. Like, it would make sense if he was a flamboyant character, but he's a very boring,
button down. Yeah,
he's all like, "Oh, sorry guys, can't call the police."
And then of course when he's on here, he's like, "You're listening to 4253 The Gator."
I mean, I've seen, like, with the advent of podcasts and everything, I see what, like, most, like, radio DJs are dressed like. They're some of the most slovenly people out there. As they should be. Who do they have to impress?
Exactly.
They're fucking morning DJs. The lowest of the low.
The dregs of society. So it takes the untimely death of Joey Fatone to actually get people to be concerned about the shark attacks. But then they, like, someone catches the actual shark that does kill Joey Fatone because they find the microphone in its mouth. And that's where Paul Sorvino, as the mayor, makes his appearance in this movie. Chief of police goes to him and says, like, hey, man, we gotta shut the beaches down. And Paul Sorvino is the mayor.
He's the mayor from Jaws. So
Exactly.
it's the scene from the mayor from Jaws where he's all like, 4th of July, you know, all this business and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta be crazy to close the beaches down or what have you. Yeah. Anyways, 2 of the guys who were working on the drill, they die. And so
we get the one, and I was really hoping that we would get at least one death that wasn't shark related. I guess it's shark related because the one guy gets eaten by the shark and he's trying to pull him out. And then Big Pussy's dad falls into like an electrical grid and he gets like electrocuted by that. So it's only shark adjacent.
Yeah. He goes into the water as a diver. Shark eats him. Big Pussy's dad tries to pull him out, but falls into the breaker box, which sends the drill into overdrive, which sends out more CGI pulses, which attracts more sharks. And only the fucking Jersey Shore gang can save the day.
I don't know why the sharks had to be albino. Like that doesn't really add anything. Like they explain it that they say it's all like, well, they're coming from the bottom of the ocean, so we haven't seen these sharks before. But, like, sharks in Jersey are a thing. Like, Tony Sirico has, like, his quit moment where he, like, pulls out his binder and he talks about the Jersey Shore shark attack that happened back in the day. That was a real thing.
Yeah.
That's not made up for the movie. There was a shark attack in Jersey at one point, and it's like documented and everything. So why do we have to have albino, sparkly ass, fucking red-eyed sharks that look like Goombas from Mario Brothers?
I was gonna say it wasn't to make them visually striking. These sharks look like ass.
These are goofy motherfuckers. These are
the same texture as a potato, like the same dimensions as a potato. They're just all like whenever you do see one poke its head above the water, like it looks like a Goomba.
It's like you know the poster for Jaws?
No, it looks like Boo from Mario.
It looks like a combination.
Yeah.
It's like if a Goomba died and became a Boo.
Yeah.
A Boomba.
Exactly.
Trademark. Don't sue me, Nintendo. Yeah, you know the poster for Jaws?
Yeah.
You know how there's like the shark kind of like head on and like the nose is up
going
and
up to the
everything
swimmer.
like that. It's like the CGI artist like took a look at that, all like, oh, that's what shark looks like, and only designed it from that angle.
Only did it from the head. And where's the rest of the shark?
They're just kind of round at the top. Or what?
I watched that whole movie looking for a shark and it never showed up.
He's got a big goofy mouth. Yeah, I saw the poster.
So, what, God, what the fuck happens?
I'm gonna be honest, I kind of stopped taking notes at this point, because the movie just kind of repeats itself. We got, like, the other good gore thing, where there's the dude who's showing off his abs. He's all like, you like my abs? You like this 8-pack here? And then the other, the practical shark. So at first, it's like, it's proper 4th of July. People are going in the water, despite the gang's pleas to not go in the water. They're not trying very hard.
No.
What,
they spend more time at the gym discussing, like, what they're gonna do and why Nookie is mad at TC than they do actually actively trying to prevent deaths.
What's the non-Italian guy's name?
Paulie.
Paulie straight up sexually assaults a girl at one point.
Oh, he pokes her in the boob.
He pokes her in the boob, which I guess is very minor on the thing. It's still a bad touch, Paulie. You're not supposed to do that. But he's like, hey, stay out of the water. And then he goes like, boop, boop, boop. And then she's not even that mad, frankly.
No.
But anyway, this guy's showing off his abs, and this girl's taking a photo of his abs, and then the shark comes out of the water and bites him right in the abs. And this is like the only good gore thing, because we see his innards, and we see like his rib cage, and it's like, it's cool. It's gone for like, it's like maybe like 3 seconds of it.
And it's introduced with like a practical effect of a shark fin that looks quite bad.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was going to say, is we're seeing, because up until now, it has been CGI shark fins, and I mean fins. Like, you're looking at the water, and the CGI, you kind of see like a ripple under the water, but sometimes it is just a fin. And you can see it cut off where the water is. And it's just like an after effect of a fin.
Yeah, it's the water refraction, you know, like that's...
Except for this one scene where it is practical shark fins, and it looks stupid, and we have gone accustomed to the CGI shark fins at this point. So I was immediately under the assumption that they're doing that tired old trope that it's like a fat guy with a fin on his back. It's like, ha ha ha. No, apparently these are the real sharks now. For this one scene, they went practical, and they have like a big shark head puppet that comes out and gives him a little chomp.
That poor production designer, like nothing he's trying is working to make these sharks look convincingly good. The CG looks bad, the practical effects look bad.
Yeah, I mean, like
30 years after Jaws came out, and like movie shark technology has not advanced.
No, if anything, it's regressed.
Yes.
As we've already pointed out, yes. Well, because they don't do practical effects with the shark. Because, as Jaws proved, that's like the first one proved, having a practical puppet in the ocean
that shit's gonna break down.
It's fucking impossible. You can't do it.
Mm.
Even with like animatronics getting better now, that motherfucker will sink.
Yeah.
So you gotta go CGI, and the CGI never looks good. Even in the best shark movies, like The Shallows, or I failed to see the irony.
Shark Attack 3 Megalodon.
I was gonna say Deep Blue Sea, but like Deep Blue Sea is a shitty movie, and the sharks don't look good in that either. But it's like, you know, even in like the best current modern day shark movie, did you see The Shallows?
No.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's a good. I mean, look, I also want to say this: shark movies a campy genre, but there's not too many people who are still around that don't realize that for the most part sharks are completely harmless.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to eat you. They will come over, at the very least maybe they'll give you a little nibble, and then they'll realize, oh, you're too big, and then they'll go away. And sometimes surfers get eaten.
Yeah.
Like, people do get eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
More people get eaten by hippos.
Yeah. They're far more dangerous.
I don't know why there isn't a killer hippo movie. You could call it Hungry Hungry. There you go. It's perfect. It just writes itself right there. Hippos are terrifying.
They are. Yeah. They can bite a man in half.
They can swallow
They're
it whole.
surprisingly fast.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And they're assholes.
Yeah.
They shit everywhere.
They're grumpy animals.
They are.
Maybe that's why, 'cause no one wants to like get close enough to a hippo to like model it.
You know what you could do? You could probably make an animatronic hippo look all right in the ocean, because you're not in the ocean. You're in like the fucking Amazon. You're in a river.
Yeah.
You know, you can fake that shit.
Yeah, probably.
Hollywood, get on it. Make a hippo movie.
Make a scary hippo movie.
Make a scary hippo movie.
Yeah. So the Jersey Shore gang is, I guess, deputized to go after all the sharks.
They're not. They
No.
just walk into the police station.
They just outnumber the cops. So.
Yeah, there's like two cops, and one of them is his dad. Because I guess the complication just figures all like, it's all right, my dad works here.
Yeah, so they just waltz into the police station, into the armory, and take all the guns. Like, no one's walked. They don't lock that shit up. They steal a police boat, which has like a fucking hide-a-key behind the door.
They also go to Tony Sirico's bar, and they
steal his harpoon gun when he's not looking.
Because he just told like this amazing story about his grandfather. I'm burpy tonight. About his grandfather who shot a shark through the eye, the left eye. Why is that important, Jameson?
The devil's eye.
It's the devil's eye.
Yeah.
Ah.
He only had a minute. This big ass shark was coming straight for him. He took aim with his harpoon, and bada bing, shot him through his left eye. Why the left? Because that's the eye of the devil.
I don't know what the significance is. I'm sure if you get it in the right eye, it's going to do some damage as well.
Harpoon a shark anywhere. It's not going to like it.
Yeah.
It's going to be... Ow!
No, it's got to be the kill shot.
It's got to be the kill shot through the left eye.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might as well...
It's a goddamn headshot for a zombie. Everyone knows you go for the left eye.
For the left eye.
I love how, like, the self-defense thing for if you ever are attacked by a shark, it's to, like, poke it in the eye or punch it in the nose.
Yeah, punch it in the nose, yeah.
But, like, the last thing I want to do is get my body closer to its head, to its mouth, you know? That's why I'm just not going to get eaten by a shark.
Good advice. Good advice. I was having this conversation with my work friends literally last night. We were talking about what would be worse, drowning or being eaten alive. And everyone else said drowning, but I'm just like, no! I don't want to be eaten. That would be the most terrible. That's why I hate hippos. Because a hippo could swallow you whole, and then you're just in its tum.
Yeah.
And then you just have to be there until it digests you. I couldn't think of anything worse. I don't want to be chewed up. I don't want any of it. I don't want it at all.
You don't want to be poop. Anyway,
I don't want to be poop.
Anyways, Nookie is still remembers that she's supposed to be pissed off at TC. Bradford, the preppy guy, makes his move on her and like invites her to a party on his yacht. It's the exact same thing from Always Sunny. You know, the implication.
He's the complication. He's the implication.
He's the implication. Yeah, she goes along with it, but coincidentally, he also invites his actual girlfriend. And
I don't know what his plan here was.
Threesome.
Yes.
Even though they're both Nookie doesn't really like the preppy guys.
It's
and
weird.
2, his girlfriend's pissed off at him right now. That is a
weird.
bold move, buddy.
It's weird how into it she is, because he invites her on the yacht, and he's just like being like Mr. Smooth and whatever. It's all like, I'll treat you like a princess, and she's into it. And then she gets on the yacht, and it takes until they're in the middle of the ocean, and he does the exact same shit, and she's all like, oh right, I don't like you. It's all like, it worked enough to get you on there in the first place. What's different now? The script said so.
Yeah, maybe she had a couple of drinks, and like now she's like a little bit more into her element.
Yeah, she gets her wits about her when she's like 3 drinks in.
Yeah. After 5, like, it's, you know, it's another story, but like right now she's in that window where she's a little bit more in tune with her surroundings and herself in general.
There's no joke about 20 minutes of the Jersey Shore gang on a boat shooting CGI shark fins. This is endless.
And I'd say probably the funniest part of the movie.
I mean, it might be funny if anything happened other than literally that.
Well, I mean, at one point, like, a guy kicks the CG shark as it's trying to beach itself onto the boat.
Boy, the freaking thing just dented my shoe! I just got these things.
One guy's like, you know, firing to like Tony Montana style, and he stops to like slick back his hair a bit. One girl says like, "Yay, guns!"
I mean, that was good.
Fins in the water. Showtime.
But yeah, like just seeing them at like the fucking stern of the boat, and they're just like shooting them execution style in the fin, which I would say wouldn't do shit to a shark.
You know what? I take back what I said earlier. Shoot him in the fin, not a kill shot.
Not a kill shot.
Shark's totally fine. If anything, Shark's more pissed off now.
Yeah. So yeah, the yacht gets attacked by the albino sharks. Nookie, who's below deck trying to get her purse, her foot goes through a floorboard and she's trapped there as it's sinking.
A floorboard filled with wires. So my first thought was all like, well, she's dead.
Yeah, she's gonna get electrocuted.
She's gonna get electrocuted immediately. Yeah. But this movie's not that kind.
And the Jersey Shore gang shows up to rescue everybody on the boat. TC goes below deck to rescue Nookie, and they confess their love to each other. He gives her his chain, which I don't know much about Jersey Shore culture, but I think they're engaged now.
You know what's hard to say fast? Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, Jersey Shore, Jersey Shore.
But you're not doing Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
Isn't this great content, folks?
You're saying Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? You want to fight about it? Is this a hill you want to die on?
Don't fucking mispronounce it, bro. You gotta say every syllable right.
Yeah. And then they get back to shore. TC shuts off the drilling thing, and the sharks just go home.
But he has like his hero moment because his dad dives in to save this one random woman who I guess missed all of the shark attacks that were happening because she's just in the middle of the water, just like lamely flailing about. So Jack Scalia jumps in and goes to get her.
Like close enough to the dock that she can swim to it. But there's no like, we don't see if she's like caught up in a buoy or something. Like there's no shark attacking her.
No, I think this movie just proved when women fall in water, they're completely helpless.
Yeah.
Because they lose all motor functions and they just start flailing wildly.
The sharks may as well have like created like a human decoy dummy.
Yeah.
Like a little puppet that they're like,
hey guys, help me out! You know?
I'll come to rescue you, ma'am, because like that's the only reason why she was in the middle of the water like that.
This is obviously a parody.
Yeah.
Maybe just go further with it. Have more like wacky gags, or would that make it a worse movie? It's a piece of shit. So like I don't know if it would make it worse or better.
It's funny because it's not funny, but it's strange that this clear parody of like a mixture of Jaws but with Jersey Shore, and none of the Jersey Shore people are like victims. They're not exploited. They're not like taken down a peg. They are the heroes of this movie.
They are 100% in the right.
They're painted in a good, well, not a good light, but they're painted in like the most
an utterly heroic light.
Yeah.
You know, like I was thinking levels between this and the worst movie we've watched on this podcast, just another romantic wrestling comedy.
Yeah.
And this amazingly is leaps and bounds better than that because for all this movie's faults, which are many, it's not mean-spirited.
No, it's not.
Like
actually.
it has a weirdly good heart.
Yeah.
To it, like the Jersey Shore guy, they're doing like all of like the Italian stereotypes or whatever, but they're not mean people or anything. They make up with the preppies at the end. They don't pick on anyone.
No, if anything, like all the bad characters have like an underlying anti-Italian sentiment to them.
Yeah.
You know, like the developer saying to the chief of police, "Oh, once I put in this new resort, like we're gonna give this place some actual culture," and like the guy, the chief of police is like, I'd argue that we already have culture here, sir. I can handle a couple of young kids having a good time.
Have you not turned on MTV lately, sir?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, yeah, they're painting the Jersey Shore in a good light, which I think at the time, the joke of the Jersey Shore was that these hedonistic people are to be ridiculed because of their outrageousness.
They're painting them in a better light than the show paints them
Absolutely, yeah. Huh, interesting.
The situation went to jail, right? Why did he go to jail? Yeah, it was like a white collar crime or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So before like the movie ends, there is like this one clandestine scene between the land developer, Mayor Sorvino, and the chief of police, where like the chief of police just exposes those guys as knowing that the drilling near the Jersey Shore would attract these sharks, and they went ahead with it anyways.
Tax fraud, yeah.
Tax fraud? Okay.
Ooh!
Yeah, oh.
Be cooler!
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they're having this cloak and dagger, not cloak and dagger, they're having this scene in an arcade, which, why? Couldn't have it in
I don't know, well, it's a location.
I guess.
It's a location that they had access to. Interestingly enough, the trivia for the movie has informed me that this movie was not shot in Jersey.
Oh, really?
No, it was shot in, I'll look it up,
Well, it's and then it's just funny that...
Redondo Beach, California.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean,
What?
Is it too much to ask in a movie called Jersey Shore Shark Attack get filmed in Jersey Shore? You know what makes saying Jersey Shore fast even harder? Adding the word shark attack onto it.
Oh, yeah.
Jersey Shore Shark Attack!
Yeah, that's an actor's warm-up right there.
That's actually a good point. I'll do that.
A little vocal exercise.
I'll do that
Jersey
next
Shore
time.
Shark Attack. Jersey Shore Shark Attack.
The situation harpooned the shark in the left eye.
Harpooned. That's
We're
so
reaching
stupid.
here, folks.
Ooh,
We really
boy.
are.
Oh, yeah, and then the other joke that I wanted to make was that, for the July long weekend that is hyped up with this Joey Fatone concert, the gang is trying to, like, clear the beaches, and then there's establishing shots of the beach, and there is nobody on that beach.
There's lots of shots, establishing shots, where there's just no one around.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this is supposed to be... The whole point is that it's supposed to be a huge party with lots of potential victims.
There is a small handful of people that showed up to that Joey Fatone concert.
Yeah, that was not a lot of people.
The Jersey Shore gang they just waltz, they wind up backstage. Yeah. There's like no security.
There's no security.
Why would there be? It's just Joey Fatone.
There's that new Netflix cartoon, Inside Job.
Oh, yeah.
That had a really funny joke where someone kidnaps all 5 members of NSYNC, and someone comes across them. They go, "Look, it's Justin Timberlake and 4 men who look vaguely familiar." I like that. And Paul Sorvino and William Atherton get crushed by the Ferris wheel.
That's right.
And we hear the wheel.
Accompanied by the Wilhelm scream.
Accompanied by the Wilhelm scream. So I guess that's what Paul Sorvino sounds like when he's crushed to death. Yeah, but they couldn't. I don't know. We couldn't even get like a blood splatter. You might even assume that they fell in between the seats or whatever. But no, I guess we're led to believe because these are the bad guys they both got.
Yeah,
smushed.
Crushed by. Yeah. No, a better movie would have had like the empty part of the Ferris wheel spoke. Yeah, a better movie is like convincingly say that about any scene. In
a better movie is not Jersey Shore
Shark Attack.
Is that the movie?
Yeah, I mean, what else?
Nookie and the TC.
They
kiss.
They reconcile.
The
and
sharks go away.
TC says like, "Smile, you stupid shark," as his dry, cool, wit line.
Yep.
His one-liner, which.
Because it's. I guess we can't say the word bitch.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kept using bro and all these other Italian terms.
There's like
they
that
throw
one
around.
like news reporter who kept. Oh, he got eaten.
He got eaten at the
that
end.
Was the last thing that they did.
He kept warning people like, "Stay off the beaches, yo."
Yeah, but he didn't have like an Italian accent or anything. He just kind of adopted it like midway through. It's like there's like hella sharks here, bro.
Several people are dead. Dozens are wounded. And it's all on the 4th of July. Right now, everyone from Sandy Hook to Beach Haven are being warned. Yo, stay away from the water, bro.
There's like the weird transitions that I think maybe were also supposed to be parodies of Jersey Shore. I don't know.
Yeah, and
write in to let us know if
like,
that's a thing.
I wonder if there was like there were some inside jokes or like how like the scene transitions in Frasier would have like sort of a subject that the scene is about or like a joke that is hinted at. I think that's what they were trying to go for here. Like, the scene transitions would just be like these stock footage reels, and it would have like these words like, "what a whore," or something like that. Or, Like when they load up with fireworks, like the scene transition title is "Bada Bing, Bada Boom."
I mean, and what was the pure?
Before it cuts to like the sharks attacking the pier, it's peer pressure.
Peer pressure,
Yeah.
right? Of course.
Yeah.
And just out of context, just like a weird transition, just saying like, what a whore.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to mention is Tony Sirico's bartending skills. Because they go into the bar earlier and they order 2 mojitos and a beer, and what he gives them
Is not a mojito.
is a cup of green Kool-Aid. It looked like mouthwash. Is what it looked like. And I'm just so like,
Make us some...
you sir have never seen a mojito in your life, sir.
Yeah. Hey, Cap Sally, like, make us yeah, 1 mojito.
Yeah.
Come on up.
It's
Fuck me. What are they're green, right?
It's just green apple sourpuss. Oh, they're so fucking dumb. They've never had a mojito before. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is good shit, Paulie.
That reminds me of for the Super Bowl this year. So you've been to the Moose a couple of times, so that's that's the bar that we go to where we keep winning trivia at. One of the bartenders there, Benny, on the Super Bowl weekend, there was this older gentleman at the bar, not a regular. And he's like dressed like quite fancy. He's like the radio DJ.
Like a radio DJ,
Like
I was about to
as
say.
well, yeah. And he orders a martini. And now the Moose is not the kind of bar where you would just order. It's a bit of a dive bar, like a cool dive bar. No one knew how to make a fucking martini there. So Benny was like, sure, coming up. And I could see him like reach under the counter and bring out the bartending book.
Did he have a martini shaker? It's not that hard to make a martini.
They did not.
You put vodka in a thing, you shake it, and then you pour it in a glass. That's
Well, maybe it wasn't it was some kind of like fancy cocktail
Okay,
that like wasn't on menu.
And yes, I know that there's more to it than that. I know you have to chill the vodka. I know you have to add vermouth or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Benny didn't know that.
Benny didn't know that. So what did he get? He got the fucking like blue carousel in a fucking red Solo cup
I think
with an umbrella.
With an actual rain umbrella.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they had lying around.
It's like when you go there and you order a salad, they just fucking like chop a head of cabbage in half and fucking like, pour some ranch dressing on it.
They run out to the green grocer across the street.
There's a fucking salad. All right, is there anything else you wanted to talk about Jersey Shore Shark Attack before we talk about the best part of our viewing experience?
No.
No, let's get into this. We've been wasting enough time. So we watched this movie on Tubi. I don't have ad blocker installed, so we have to suffer through commercials. There weren't as many on this one. I think it's because it's probably a short movie, so there weren't like a ton of ad breaks. There was one commercial in particular that has us puzzled.
Yes.
And we do not have an answer for it.
It is this beautifully animated Miyazaki.
Gorgeous.
This Miyazaki style commercial for something we don't know.
We don't know because right before it gets to the point where it tells us what the commercial is about, it cuts away. And there's no identifying features to let you know what the answer is. It has to be a travel ad. It has to be.
It's the only way it would make sense.
Look at this place. Don't you want to go there? Which is odd because it's animated.
Yeah,
which would make me think they're hiding something.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this beautiful shot of these giant spirits of like elk and wolves crossing the desert plains.
So it starts off with a cowboy.
Yeah, on a rodeo, and then these like dignified Native Americans riding on horses with these like giant wolf spirits,
animal spirits, like right behind them. Then it cuts to a donkey man, and you're like, "What are we watching?" And then you realize it's a scene from A Midsummer Night Dream, and it's Shakespeare in the park, and it pans out, and everyone's watching
this fantasy-looking park.
And there's like a vineyard.
Yeah.
And then it continues to.
And then like they pan up to the sky, which we find out is actually just a reflection of a beautiful pond in the forest. And like there's these hikers that come across a mountain scene.
But then it does get fantasy.
And
after that,
there's like cloud golem or something.
That's the god of clouds who is straight out of a Miyazaki movie. He's just like he's got like a little a cloud machine in front of him, and he's pulling levers, and he's making the sky look beautiful.
And like this ad is like 30 seconds long, and just when you're about to realize like what it's selling you, cut to next ad.
No idea. I typed in like Miyazaki travel ad, and I thought I found it. I thought it was like an ad for Oregon, but then I clicked on that link. No, there's a different Miyazaki-inspired commercial for Oregon. Like, I started watching a little bit of it on YouTube, and no, it's a completely different thing. A different art style from this.
Watch it be for something like Maxi Pads.
Like, that would be amazing. So, yeah, it's just this mystery commercial that played every ad break.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot figure out what it is for.
We took video of it, so I'll be posting a link.
We'll include it in all of the things that we include.
If you know what this is, please let us know, because we want to nominate it for Best Animated Short. It's beautiful looking.
I'll make like an Instagram story of it, and I'll include it. But just what is this? It's wild.
It is.
I want to go there. It looks nice.
It's. I'm fascinated.
Just tell me where to go. I don't know where to go.
So at the very least, thank you, Jersey Shore Shark Attack, for introducing us to perhaps our favorite bit of media content of the year.
But despite that, would you recommend Jersey Shore Shark Attack?
No, fuck no.
There's better ways to spend your evening. There's better Paul Sorvino movies you can watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was The Hat.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? It's The Hat. We left it up to chance. That's what happens.
Damn you, Hat.
It's the spirit of Sorvino-vember. You have to let the fates guide you.
Yeah.
And this time they guided us to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Which was actually Redondo Beach.
Yeah, and look, come on, guys. This is a sci-fi original movie that's trying to cash in on the trend of Jersey Shore. Like a year after the show ended, it's a very poor man's Jaws, which there are like countless versions of. This one just happens to feature pastiches of the Jersey Shore crew. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that they paint them in a dignified and heroic light, given who the original Jersey Shore cast. Yeah, given who the original Jersey Shore cast were. Yeah, it's painting them in quite a decent light. Still, this movie sucked.
Real bad.
Oh yeah.
You got anything to recommend for the people at home this week?
I mean, everyone's probably just watched Squid Game already. I just wrapped it up, so that's what I'm kind of recommending.
Still haven't watched it. Too popular. I don't like Twitter to tell me what to watch.
Okay.
But I'll probably check it out. Because,
I thought it was quite... I thought the human drama aspects of it were just as compelling as the death traps in the show. So.
Now that it's not being forced down my throat a little bit, I'll probably go and check it out. It's just, social media always has like those fucking shows. So like, oh my god, are you watching this? Don't you want to like talk about this?
Don't you want to be in the loop?
Yeah, and it's sort of like, no, I kind of want to be out of the loop. Thanks very much.
Well, I missed Jersey Shore back when it was on there, so this is me making up for it and getting, being part of the conversation.
This episode I wanted to recommend, I've been rewatching one of my favorite YouTube cartoonists. I've been going back and I've been rewatching a lot of his videos. They're great because sometimes I just need like 4-minute things to pass the time while I'm on the john or lying in bed or whatnot, and it just occurred to me maybe enough people don't know about this guy, so I just wanted to shout him out. It is a YouTuber who his channel is called Greasy Tales. He sometimes it goes by the moniker Sexual Lobster. He's a charming Australian YouTube animator who makes delightfully absurd, disturbing, graphic, tasteless cartoons. Lots of little short songs, quick little series that last for like 3 or 4 little cartoons. A great little series like Man Horror Industries, Great Destiny Man, Pleasure Island, and my new current favorite, Meth Orcs. So it's really good. I've been watching him since like the Newgrounds days. So it's been really great to see him long over a decade have like his animation style change. Like the most recent episode of Meth Orcs has like this bard character who instead of singing does interpretive dance. And I was just watching this and I was just remarking on like how fluid this dance animation looks. Like he really like took his time with that. So go check that out. Greasy Tales, aka Sexual Lobster. There's some great, goofy, absurd stuff there. This was our inaugural episode of Sorvino-vember. I'm sure we'll be doing this for years and years to come until Paul Sorvino is fully canceled.
Gives us a cease and desist.
But hey, at the very least...
Stop harassing me, you dickheads.
At the very least... Go buy his pasta sauce. Like help. I'm sure.
Could be good.
What's the deal with actors named Paul who have to make sauces and then put their face on the labels?
I mean, there's Paul Newman and Paul Sorvino.
If Paul Walker lived, God bless him.
Paul Reiser, is he doing anything?
I would not eat anything that Paul Reiser made for me.
How about Paul Giamatti? Is he making anything?
Oh, I mean, that would be great. What would Paul... I don't know, like maybe like a Paul Giamatti... Like
wine.
Biscotti or something like that. Yeah, wine. Yeah,
okay.
I can see him.
But
as long as he's not crushing the grapes himself.
But now I'm thinking, like, how many other Pauls are doing? There's Paul Newman, Paul Sorvino.
Yeah.
That's What's with all the Pauls doing this? It's only 2. It's 2 of them.
That's still a lot of Pauls.
It's more than one.
More than one Paul has his face on a sauce ball.
Got his hand in food products.
And that is more of a coincidence. And that was Jersey Shore Shark Attack from 2012, directed by John Shepard, which I forgot to mention. He's a guy, he directed some shit.
Give the man the credit he's due.
If you like this episode, thank you.
Why? What's wrong with you?
Strongest episode yet. Please follow us on all the social medias. We're on Facebook at The Fuck Is This, and the Instagram at The F Is This Podcast. We're on Twitter at, tell me, because I always forget, I always say the wrong thing.
I think it's the F_is this.
Right.
Yeah.
That one, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want a Spotify version, guess what? We have that. We have more Spotify content than Joy Fatone. That's what we're gonna. That's
suck on that fat one.
That's a statement that we can fucking make right there. If you're listening to this on Spotify, also check out the YouTube version because there's a visual element, and you'll need the visual element to see this commercial.
Get that Miyazaki.
To get the whole idea in here.
Yeah.
And Jameson, you got anything? You got anything you to send us home with?
Nothing's gonna resist 25 grams of peanut butter crunch.
Words to live by.